everybody, welcome back. Today I'm just going to make a short video and show you some of the things that I have in my kitchen. These are just the standard things that I always have, I always keep on stock, so that whenever I don't know what to make, I have some basics that I can start with. I'm going to show you what my cabinets look like, and then I'll take things out on the counter and talk about them. All right, so here is my kitchen cabinet. And on the top shelf are some of the basic canned things that I have. Tomato passata, and some different kinds of tomatoes, as well as some tuna fish and anchovies. And then some dried things, beans and things like that, but I'm not going to talk about those. In my laundry area, I have another cabinet, and here's where I have all the pasta. All right, so you can see it's a pretty good supply. I'm always prepared. During the pandemic, I had no worries. When everybody else was worried about running out of toilet paper, I knew I had enough food. All right. All right, I pulled some things out of the cabinet to show you some of the basic things that I always have around so that I can always make something to eat. All right, let's start with the tomato products. As far as canned tomatoes go, sorry, I forgot one. As far as canned tomatoes go, I really like Cento brand. These are all-purpose crushed tomatoes. The name is a little bit confusing. I mean, what is a crushed tomato? But it's a really nice, thick puree. And this is what I use for my Sunday gravy. Usually I use a can of tomatoes and then, put some water in and swirl it around to kind of thin it out, because especially for gravy, you cook it down. These are distributed by Cento Fine Foods, West Deptford, New Jersey, which is my neck of the woods where I grew up. And the ingredients are vine ripened crushed tomatoes. That's it. So that's all you got in here, tomatoes. There's no sugar, no spices, no salt, nothing. No additives. It's just pure tomato. And I'm kind of assuming that these are Jersey tomatoes, although I don't know. There's a recipe for Sunday gravy. I never even noticed that. All right, so Cento crushed tomatoes, number one. Along with the crushed tomatoes, I always like to have a couple jars of tomato passata. And I think that Cento makes a tomato passata, but I really like the mutti, tomato passata, tomato puree. This is Italian. Ingredients: tomatoes, Mediterranean sea salt, manufactured by Mutti, Montechiarugolo, Parma, Italia. All right, so these are from Italy. Nice thing about these, as opposed to the can, is if I just want a little bit, I can open it and then pop the rest in the refrigerator. It says use within 5 days of opening. Also from Cento, I really like these peeled tomatoes. San Marzano, I'm not really sure if they are actually San Marzano, because I know that they're pretty strict about let's see. These are certified by a third-party agency. Well, I don't know. Maybe there are timbers on it. These I get at Trader Joe's. They sell them at different places, but Trader Joe's has the best price on these. The other Trader Joe's used to carry mutti, but they stopped carrying it. So usually I'll find this at Safeway. When it's on sale, I'll buy a couple jars. And the crushed tomatoes, usually I get these at Berkeley Bowl. So for those of you who are in the Bay Area, if you're lucky enough to live on the East Coast, you're not going to have any problem finding any of this stuff. Okay, also from Mutti, I really like these cherry tomatoes, ciliegini. I don't know if I'm saying that right. From Parma. So I like this size of the can. Berkeley, Whole Foods, Berkeley Bowl also sells cans of the crushed tomatoes, smaller cans, which is nice. So if you're cooking for one, you don't want to have a lot of leftovers, it's nice to get this size can. I always like to have a tube of tomato paste on hand. So with the Sunday gravy that we make, we put a can of tomato paste. But it's nice to have a tube of tomato paste. If you just want a little bit of tomato in something, you can just squeeze a little bit from the tube. And this is double concentrate, so you get some really good tomato flavor. All right, so those are the tomato products. I'm going to get these out of the way. Another essential, and I've talked about this before, is locatelli. It's pecorino romano. So this is pecorino cheese. It's made from sheep's milk. This is grated. You can find it whole, but I like to have it already grated. There used to be an Italian deli in San Francisco that I would go to, and they had, big chunks of locatelli, and I can get it fresh grated there. But they closed. It was one of the last Italian delis in San Francisco. I've been able to find this, of all places, Safeway. And one thing you want to be careful about when you're buying any kind of grated cheese, Parmesan, or whatever, is check to see if it has an anti-caking agent in it. So I'm looking for the ingredients, and I don't see any ingredients. But I know for a fact that locatelli doesn't have any anti-caking agent because it cakes. This has not been opened yet, but you can see there's a little bit of clumping going on here. If you really want your cheese fine, like if you're making a carbonara or something like that, then just, put it in a strainer and run it through the strainer to get rid of the caking. But, you're sprinkling this on pasta. It's not a problem if you have some chunks. It's kind of nice. All right, so locatelli, this is about $11 for this small container, but it's gold. All right, so now for the pasta. I always have spaghetti. So spaghetti number 12. It's a standard size spaghetti. My favorite brand of pasta is Di Cecco. It's from Abruzzo, which is where my family is from. It's slow dried, bronze drawn, really good pasta. Okay, so spaghetti number 12 is a good thing to always have on hand. I also like to have linguine. Linguine is really good with seafood, with clams, of course, mussels. And then I really like this linguine fini, number 8. It's a thinner linguine. It's kind of hard to see it. This one cooks really fast, only 6 minutes to cook al dente. And then bucatini is fun to have. When I was younger, I didn't really like bucatini. I'm not sure why. It's a very different kind of pasta. So bucatini is a thick pasta and it has a hole. There's a hole in it. You can actually use it as a straw. I don't know where my camera is, but you can kind of see that there's a hole and it's the length of spaghetti. It's really good with crabs. So when we make crabs and spaghetti, often we'll use bucatini. The sauce can also get inside. Okay, so those are the long pastas. And then for short pastas, penne is always nice. There's a recipe for penne with tuna. Penne is good with anything, really. Rigatoni is a bigger tube. So rigatoni is good with a gravy, a ragu, a nice meat sauce. And then orecchiette, I made orecchiette with sausage and broccoli rabe. So the orecchiette that I used was some fancy handmade brand. This, you can tell that this is machine made because they're all the same size and shape. But orecchiette is a nice pasta, especially with sausage and broccoli rabe. I got this gemelli. Gemelli it means twins, I guess. So it's two strands that are twisted together. And fusilli. If you've ever watched Seinfeld, you might know fusilli. So fusilli is a twisty. I forget what we used to call these, corkscrew or something like that. It's common in pasta salads. People often make pasta salad with fusilli. It's good with tuna also. The gemelli I think is really nice with pesto. All right, so I think that is it. So get yourself to the store, stock up. We are ready for the next pandemic here. I do need a few more cans of the whole tomatoes. Oh, by the way, the whole tomatoes. So this is really nice if you're making like a shrimp marinara or something like that. Also really good for a pizza sauce. And with the whole tomatoes, you just crush them with your hand. It's one of my favorite things to do when I'm cooking. You just take them out of the can. Be careful because the juice will splash all over the place. So make sure you're doing it in a deep pot. Just crush them with your hands. Don't put them in a blender. Put them in the blender, you're going to blend up the seeds. You're going to get a lot of air in the sauce and it really kind of ruins it. So I like to have that nice chunky texture, and some of the tomatoes haven't really broken down fully. And then with all of the tomato sauce, if there's any kind of acidity that you're worried about, you don't need to put sugar in your tomato sauce. Just cook the tomatoes. Just cook them, it'll get the acidity out. Another thing that I've seen people do is put a chunk of a carrot in your sauce and then take the carrot out, and that kind of absorbs some of the acidity, supposedly. I don't know, I've never done that. Okay, So these are some standard Italian products to get you started. Happy cooking, and I'll see you next time.